Wow, we've had a lot of fun making these videos. I know. It's been a while since our last update, but we've been real busy. The truth is, I've been tied up, so to speak. Alright, let's not waste any time. Let's jump right in and get sidetracked. For this episode, we're going to take a look at another fantastic N-scale layout. This one belongs to a real nice guy named Chris Broughton. As you can see, Chris is a fantastic modeler, and he's done wonders bringing super detail and life into this N-scale masterpiece. Now, to add icing to the proverbial cake, Chris uses a variety of trackside scenery backdrops to add life beyond the confines of the layout. A link to Chris's YouTube channel can be found in this video's description. Be sure to check it out. Okay, without any further ado, let's proceed, shall we? And if you're keeping up, you'll know that in the last video we covered the topic of selecting bridges for the mountainside of the layout. We also went over some of the construction methods involved in the building of those bridges, and we got to take a look at them while they were temporarily in place. Now, as a side job, we also weathered the track on this side of the layout. So if you're looking at this and thinking it was done by some kind of funky monkey, do yourself a favor and check out that last video so you can see what we were doing. Alright, so with the bridges temporarily in place, that gave me a chance to finalize what I was going to do for bridge supports. By bridge supports, I mean abutments and piers. As we left it in the last video, I had already installed several pieces for the upper bridge. They included some great precast products from Chooch Enterprises. Now, I've used these products for years and I just can't say enough about them. Great detail. With the upper bridge supports already in place, I could now focus on the middle and lower bridges. For the middle bridge, which is that curved deck bridge you see there, I'm going to mix styles. By that, I mean the abutments are going to be different from the pier. For the abutments, I'm using blue foam covered in plaster to represent the results of a concrete form. For the pier, we're going to use a cut stone rectangular style. On to the double bridge you see in the foreground. This is actually two deck bridges next to each other, but they'll share a single abutment on each side. Again, we'll use a Chooch product in the form of a double track wide cut stone abutment. For this video, we're not only going to install and secure the bridge supports, we're going to create the base of the stream bed for which we'll start adding scenery in the next video. I started by cutting reliefs for the abutments and then lined them up with the bridges temporarily in place. This will assure the correct width and height. I actually used construction adhesive to hold them in place. We're going to use a combination of what I call slow and quick setting plasters to fill all these areas in. Now, before we do anything, I'm going to add a little height to the stream bed itself. This, when finished, will give the appearance of a flow from back to front on a slight slope. I'm using simple and cheap white foam board that I cut to shape. This will all be covered up with plaster. I'll use a little bit of construction adhesive to temporarily hold this in place before we put the plaster down. Once I have everything in place, I'll mask off any areas that I don't want plaster to get into. And here's that stuff that I call slow setting plaster. It's already mixed and ready to apply. This dries pretty slow, allowing time for me to sculpt and smooth. The reason I'm using this first is that it does dry slow. Once I put the quick setting plaster over top of it, I can still make adjustments. The thing I like about using this slow stuff first is the fact that it stays the same over a longer period of time. I can get it down in all the areas I need to and I have plenty of time. This area will take a lot of plaster, and if I were mixing the quick setting stuff, I probably wouldn't have enough time to finish before it dries. Okay, that recycled upright foam board you see against the back of the stream area, that's not only to dam the plaster, that will also create a nice flat surface for the backdrop to line up against once it's installed. This isn't brain surgery, you don't have to be too careful, but I will be careful around the bridge supports, and just as you see, I'm spreading it on and smoothing it out as I go. I'm going to leave the wider gaps alone for now, and I'm going to fill those in with the quick plaster later. Again, that area against the foam board in the back will need to be smooth to create a nice flat surface. And when we're done and it's dry, it'll peel right off. Okay, next up will be the quick setting plaster. We're going to use that to fill in the wider gaps and areas around the supports, and we'll also overcoat all areas as we go. Although there are a variety of commercially available model railroad products for this, I like to use this plaster of Paris that you can find at many hardware or home improvement stores. It's easy to use. We already used the slow stuff to fill in smaller areas and let it seep down into the cracks and crevices, so I'm going to make this quick setting mix pretty thick. As you can see, I've made it thick enough to where it's about the consistency of cake batter or icing. It's just thick enough to where it doesn't drip out of my hands as I apply it. I'm not too concerned about getting the plaster on the bridge supports because once it's dry, I can use a wire brush to clean off any excess. Also, those supports will be painted later. As I work my way around the entire area, I can fill in any spots that need attention and smooth as I go to create a nice transition. As I mentioned, this stuff dries pretty quick, but what you can do is dip your fingers in warm water and apply it to the surface. I know I didn't mention it earlier, but I'm also using this time to fill in around all the tunnel portals on this side of the layout. It's not huge, but there's a pretty good gap between the tunnel portal and the terrain itself, so I'm using the quick setting stuff because it's a little thicker and doesn't drip down on the track. It looks pretty good. As it dries, I can fine-tune areas around the supports like this. Remember that slow setting stuff? Yep, areas like this can be adjusted after applying the quick set over top of it. You can push it down and form it as you need. Just remember, it doesn't have to be perfect because your scenery supplies are going to cover all this up. Now here's what it looks like once it's all dry with a coat of dirt-colored paint on top of it. Now just for reference, yes, you can use dirt-colored paint in with your plaster mix and eliminate this final step. Again, all these areas like this will be covered with scenery materials and the bridge supports will be painted, so that's why you don't have to be too careful. Have fun doing it. Not bad for an afternoon's work, huh? Of course, the bridges won't be permanently installed until after the river scenery is in place. At that time, we can fine-tune and adjust them as needed. Well, we're one step closer to working on some actual scenery for this area, and I'm getting real excited about it, so I hope you'll stay tuned. Be sure to subscribe, stay tuned, and follow the progress. This is Joey Ricard with TracksideScenery.com. Thanks for watching. See you next time.